James Madison won the toss, elected to defer. Cristiano Rosso will kick it away. The dangerous Colin Lacey back deep. Lacey had a punt return touchdown in the season-opening win against Eastern Kentucky and wiggles his way to the 25-yard line. Our first look at this Louisville offense, chock full of playmakers. Miller Moss is the QB. Clark told you about him. He's traded in Hollywood glitz and glamour for bluegrass and bourbon. Backed up Caleb Williams for 2 seasons at USC. Actually had a huge Holiday Bowl performance against Louisville a couple of years ago. Lost his job last year, hit the portal, and now with Jeff Brom here in the Ville, and Isaac Brown is his running back in the pistol. Brown, the reigning ACC Rookie of the Year, bottled up immediately. Not much on the play, no gain, 2nd down and 10.
Well, you're talking about Miller Moss, Anish. Strong arm, super accurate. Operated this offense really well last week against Eastern Kentucky. Threw 2 interceptions, but I don't count him being a former quarterback because there were tips. You know, you hit guys in the hands, the ball should be caught, and that should not go on the quarterback stat sheet.
Chris Bell, the motion man. The give is to Brown, hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss. Trent Hendrick, the middle linebacker who made his first career start against Louisville back in 2022.
Yeah, he is a throwback in the middle in terms of a linebacker, just 6 foot, about 235. But boy, he reads, dissects, and plays sideline to sideline. Plays very well in terms of the angles and makes a lot of tackles for this JMU defense.
Dukes showing pressure on 3rd and long. Their defensive coordinator, Colin Hitchler, told us you have to be aggressive because Jeff Brom is the type of play caller who can get you on skates. Here's the blitz. Moss is hit, and down he goes. They brought the blitz. Gannon Weathersby, the first to get in there.
Boy, a lot of guys around the line of scrimmage. You mentioned the blitz coming. They go 0, where they're locked on man-to-man. They're able to come free on Miller Moss, dissect the protection, and able to get right in his face. Boy, that is huge for JMU, and it's going to spell great field position for their first offensive possession.
David Chapeau punts it away. Wayne Knight signals for a fair catch and makes it in plus territory. Premium starting field position for James Madison, and they are led by their quarterback, Alonza Barnett. We're going to see 2 QBs. We'll see Matthew Sluka as well. Barnett last year in the win against North Carolina when James Madison dropped 70 on the Tar Heels. 388 yards passing, 5 touchdowns through the air, 99 rushing yards, 2 more on the ground.
Yeah.
He tore his ACL on the final play of the regular season, was back at fall camp as a full participant.
Yeah, he is the starter. He knows and can operate this offense very well, but don't blink, because you're going to see Matthew Sluka, who played for Coach Chesney at Holy Cross.
Backwards pass. I got a man wide open downfield, incomplete. Logan Kyle was there. If he catches it, it's a touchdown.
Oh my goodness, Logan Kyle sold this thing. He pretends to block, gives the indication that he's blocking, and then he's going to release up the field on a corner route, just wide open. I mean, you don't get any more open than that. It's almost like you could punt it out there to him. Remember, we talked a little bit last week about how tough it is to hit wide open receivers, especially for a non-quarterback.
Yeah, Isaiah Alston, the 6'4" wideout, threw it. Barnett back to the air, hit as he throws it. It's incomplete. Jordan Garrod, who had a team-high 6 tackles last week, getting to the QB.
Yeah, he was the team's defensive MVP in the Sun Bowl, but both these teams defensively affecting the quarterback here early. James Madison doing it through pressure. Louisville doing it with defensive line play.
You pick up 4 or 5 here. You think about going for it on 4th down. A run play could be on the table. Pocket collapsing. The ball is tipped and incomplete. So this Louisville front line was masterful against Eastern Kentucky last week. Owning the line of scrimmage, that was Rene Conga.
Yeah, I don't care how tall you are, and AB3's only about 6 foot, but when you have big guys like Conga right in your face, it's tough to see down the field and tough to throw over a guy that's 6'4", 300 pounds, barreling right down on you.
Patrick Ray, the Louisiana Tech transfer to punt. And Lacey, who had a 93-yard punt return last week, back deep. They won't have a chance here. It skips into the end zone. Louisville's defense comes up big against a short field. Miller Moss and the offense go back to work when we come back. Second possession now for Louisville. Moss to throw. Under pressure, throws downfield. And that throw fell short. Incomplete, intended for Colin Lacey. Pressure by Seir West. Both of these teams coming off a Week 1 win against FCS schools. Louisville against Eastern Kentucky. James Madison against Weber State.
Trying to keep them in long yardage situations.
Underneath, that's complete. It'll set up a third down. Chris Bell with his first catch. NFL scouts love his build. 6'2", 220.
One thing about JMU defensively last year, he's tied for 21st with points per game. They get after you in terms of takeaways. One of the better teams in the country at turning over offenses. And expect some blitz here when it's third down and about medium here.
They're showing pressure. This time they rush 4. Moss bouncing in the pocket. Nobody open. He runs. And he's got it up for a first down right at the 30-yard line. Jacob Thomas, the veteran safety, pushed him out.
Well, it just kind of cleared itself up. He's going to get pressure early and able to kind of step outside, outflank the defense, and nobody there on his way to the first down marker.
He is sneaky fast, as the coach has told us. Quick screen, that one hauled in. Lacey trying to shake past an ankle tackle and turns that into 4 yards. Weathersby the tackle.
Strong player in the middle of their defense. He's a guy that plays sideline to sideline, and he's got speed to get out there on that little quick screen or toss outside. Lacey's so dangerous with the ball in his hands.
Duke Watson into the game at running back. Averaged almost 9 yards per carry as a freshman last year. Another stick of dynamite for Jeff Brom in the backfield, but he is wrapped up after a modest gain. It sets up third down.
Well, you got Brown that can run between the tackles. He's got speed enough to get to the outside. We talked about that at the top, but then they played Watson as a true freshman also last year. So both those guys came in together, both played early, and he has a very, very bright future. Another third down situation here for Louisville.
There's the blitz. That's the tight end, Skinner. Can he get to the line to gain? Looks like he's going to be a little short. Forward progress gives him the 39. The Miami transfer, Jaleel Skinner, it's 4th and about a yard.
Well, and the coaching staff loves him, and rightfully so. At 6'5", about 230, he's starting to really emerge as a pass catcher in this offense. And how about JMU bringing up 4th down here? And, you know, they are thinking about going for it here, keeping the offense on the field. This could be huge if JMU gets a stop right here.
Louisville brings in an extra tight end. They will call the play. They run it. They didn't get there. James Madison comes up with a stop. The Dukes all week said, we don't feel like we're the underdog. They haven't played like it so far.
You know how I feel about short yardage situations from the shotgun. JMU got excellent penetration here. They bring the edges. They get penetration in the middle. Nothing for Louisville.
Bob Chesney's pulling out all the stops. Sluka fakes the toss to Barnett and runs ahead. Matthew Sluka spent 4 years with Bob Chesney at Holy Cross, transferred to UNLV last year, made national headlines, went after a 3-0 start, and with his team in the top 25, he opted out due to a dispute over money. That's the reality of college football that we're in. And then found a home with his old coach in Harrisonburg. Now the toss. Barnett pump fakes, throws, incomplete. It was tipped. 3rd down and 6.
That's the 3rd tip pass, and JMU's got to figure out how to capitalize in East on some pretty good field position. Started the first drive at the opponent's 34. This one at the 48. They've got to do a little better job of picking up first downs and taking advantage of some really, really good field position.
Could be 4-down territory here. 3rd and 6. Play clock down to 2. They just get it off. Wayne Knight hitting the backfield. And tackled for a short loss. It's 4th down.
Antonio Watts, who's freaky talented and athletic. He's the guy that gets in the backfield first for Louisville.
Let's see what the Dukes decide to do. Offense stays out there.
They're just trying to pick up about half of it to get it in a manageable situation here on 4th down.
On 4th and 6. Barnett standing in the pocket. He goes down. The ball comes out. James Madison covers it up. It's a 4th down fumble. So it was going to be Louisville ball either way. Only the player who fumbles on 4th down can advance it. However,
there's a flag.
There is a flag downfield.
Backfield, yeah.
Holding defense number 4.
That's going to be an automatic first down.
First down.
That's Jabari Mack, the Jacksonville State transfer who played for Rich Rod.
Just working at the line of scrimmage. Looks like Jabari Mack is kind of holding, got a handful of jersey right as the receiver's trying to get off the line of scrimmage. It gives James Madison a fresh set of downs, and this drive continues.
That's a lifeline right there on 4th down. How about a quad formation with the receivers to the near side?
And one-on-one up top.
Sluka's in at quarterback. He looks to run. Was a dynamic runner at Holy Cross, but that time dropped for a loss of a yard.
I mentioned earlier he played for Coach Chesney at Holy Cross. He's another guy that is dynamic with the ball in his hands. You know how I feel about two quarterback systems. You know, one guy, neither guy can get hot when you got them rolling in and out like JMU has right now.
Bob Chesney told us neither guy loves it, but I don't want them to love it. They keep it on the ground. Io Adei, who ran for 1,000+ yards, or actually George Pettaway, excuse me, gets the call.
Yeah,
former Tar Heel.
Coaches describe him as a downhill grinder type. Excellent blocks up front. Greenberg, Toner, and Sweezy, the center and two guards. They open up a nice crease for Adei.
Number 6 on the back of the jersey, rolled up as a 5. Pettaway, 20 yards shy of 1,000 yards last year. Gets the call again and spun down at the 13-yard line by Stanquan Clark and Caleb Perry.
Pettaway averaged just under 10 yards a carry in last week's ball game. And a year ago against North Carolina, had a big game in that one, and he's a North Carolina transfer to JMU and then went back and upset his old team.
Lacota Dippre has to come out of the game for one play.
I don't know.
Or does he?
I agree about that. Agree with that. When a guy yanks your helmet off.
That could have been a penalty. Matthew Sluka.
A face mask penalty.
Back in at QB on 2nd and 7. Design quarterback run. Sluka pinballs off one of his linemen. And it sets up a 3rd and about 2. A gain of 5 for Sluka.
You know, you got to get a lot of reps. And with one guy going and the other right shortly after, because the line, the offensive line, the center, they have to get used to a different cadence when you're switching quarterbacks this much. So you've got to put a lot of emphasis on those guys hearing both voices.
Running formation with Sluka in the game. Out of a wishbone. And they hand it off to Jordan Fuller, who didn't play last week. Another Holy Cross kid. He was the school's all-time leader in touchdowns, and he's a bulldozer at 5'11", 230.
Yeah, physical runner, another one that loves to run between the tackles. His dad was in the Hall of Fame at Holy Cross. Good football player there.
Fuller again caught in his tracks at the 5, only a yard. Rene Conga in on the stop for Louisville.
This isn't your ordinary Sun Belt team. They've got some size, they've got some speed, they're going to hold up in the trenches, and more importantly, they are well coached.
Preseason favorite in the Sun Belt East. Sluka keeps changing directions. Gobbled up by Garrod. It's 3rd and goal.
The hesitation, he can change directions on you in a hurry. You see why he's been so successful. It looked as though Lubin, who had 2 sacks in last week's game, had him dead to rights, put his foot in the ground, made him miss, and made something positive out of it.
The quarterback shuffle continues. Alonza Barnett back into the game. 11th play of the drive coming.
Boy, he has got one-on-one up top. Right there. See if he goes to it. It's man across the board.
Looking that way, but before the snap, a timeout by James Madison.
Before the snap, JMU takes it.
Throwing passes, they said, young man, get some sleep.
Throwing passes to who? I don't have friends that are that committed that go out and throw passes with me at 2 in the morning. I've burned up some hands back in my day trying to get buddies, anybody that would catch a football for me, but not at 2 in the morning. I'm sleeping, partner.
Well, James Madison with a chance to go ahead first. 3rd and goal.
Oh, he's got the same look on the outside. Tall receiver Landon Ellis up top, one-on-one.
DeGennaro behind him in a stack. Barnett rolls to his left. Throws back the other way. Wide open. Caught for a touchdown. Lacota Dippre.
Like the dance. A little celebration at the end of it. Transfer out of Charlotte, and they give They give Louisville the same look, same formation as before they call the timeout. Roll, short roll, Barnett right. They sneak the tight end, Dippre out on the backside, and nobody was there.
Dippre was the D end at Charlotte, moved to tight end after coming to James Madison. Brothers CJ in the NFL. The extra point is good by Morgan Suarez.
Nice little short roll to the left. Dippre sneaks out, and even with pressure in his face, Barnett is able to find him for a touchdown. The last touchdown play. They're going to give some eye candy here and here where the tight end is lined up. He's going to fake down and just drag right across. The linebackers lose him in the congestion, and he comes wide open. Excellent play design by JMU. And Mr. Dippre wide open in the end zone to give JMU an early lead here.
A James Madison team that beat North Carolina last year, beat Virginia the year before, 4-10 all-time against the ACC. A lot of those other games coming when James Madison was an FCS program. What stood out so far, the Duke's defense is winning the line of scrimmage.
Yes, they are. Trent Hendricks, their middle linebacker, able to attack behind the line of scrimmage. Weathersby as well. Another one. They have just owned the line of scrimmage against Louisville, and they're getting tremendous penetration and pressure on Miller Moss, the quarterback.
This vaunted Louisville rushing attack, -4 yards on 6 attempts so far, the longest run from the quarterback.
Oh, up you one. In 2 possessions, 8 total yards.
James Madison loading up the box. Here's Brown. He gets nowhere, lost a half yard. Paul?
You know, Trent Hendrick told me this week in 2022, he made his first start on this field against Louisville. His head was spinning out of control. Not tonight. He is dialed, focused, and he is a cagey veteran. I was on the sideline. When he talks, the team listens. He is a bona fide leader for the Dukes. And Anish and Andre, he's one of only 6 OGs on this team, and the OGs are the guys who came in as freshmen and are still on this team to date.
Well, you can see why. You know, he makes so many plays there. Jacob Thomas, there's safeties who they love to play on the back end. They'll move him into the box. Excellent around the line of scrimmage, but it's no accident why Hendrick is playing as well as he does. Been in this system now for a couple of years and just has the freedom to kind of roam around and make plays.
Here's the blitz, one-on-one, incomplete, but we get a flag. Trayshawn Hurry covered by Elijah Culp. And Louisville needed some kind of a break.
Pass interference, defense, automatic first down.
Yeah, he missed the game last week. Their best cover man. He missed it with an elbow and just kind of a yank of the jersey. It's going to get the attention of the officials every single time. Kind of bailed out Louisville with that automatic first down.
Remember on the last scoring drive, Louisville got to the quarterback on 4th and 6. Questionable defensive holding call gave James Madison a first down. They eventually scored. Isaac Brown to the 45, his best run of the day, a gain of 5. Last year, Brown broke Lamar Jackson's freshman rushing record at Louisville.
Yeah, he went over 1,100 yards, 1,173 to be exact. It was the 11 touchdowns to go along with it. That was even more impressive. And that's split in time with Duke Watson.
On second down, back to Brown. A couple of yards shy of the marker. A couple of those OGs that Paul talked about, Hendrick and Thomas, made the tackle.
I'll tell you, when they are not making tackles with the guys up front, with Thomas and Hendrick is making it, and you already saw Jacob Thomas come up and make a nice play. And here we are again, and 3rd down and 2 for Louisville. Yet to cross the 50-yard line.
Kewan Brown into the game at running back. High snap. Brown gets the call, and tornadoes into Duke's territory for a first down. He's trying to turn this backfield duo into a trio.
Yeah, he's a guy that can really get skinny in the hole. It doesn't have to be this big and gaping for him to run through it. He saw some time also as a true freshman, but they were still able to redshirt him a year ago. Tough inside runner.
He briefly entered the portal and committed to Boise State before deciding on returning to Louisville. Off play action. Moss throws over the middle, flag down. It's caught by Stewart, the tight end.
Yeah, it's right around behind the line of scrimmage.
Louisville without its normal starting tight end, Nate Kariski.
Hands to the face defense. The 15. 15-yard penalty, intended to run. First down.
Zaire West is a guilty party. He is a good-looking young player, just a redshirt freshman, but he's long, athletic, and can make plays. And well, yeah, he's got a handful of face masks working against Lance Robinson. I think that qualifies as hands to the face.
We don't need Matt Austin for that one.
No.
He is here today. Matt gets a home game.
A nice chuckle out of that one. So yeah, we're stating the obvious.
Matt does not get to put in for per diem on this one, though. He's a Louisville native. Lacey goes in motion. Out of an empty set. And a whistle and a flag.
Before the snap, delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Andre, this was an issue for Louisville last week. They put up big numbers offensively, but the bad was 12 penalties for 106 yards.
Yeah, it was, and we've seen that some already in this game, early in the game, and so they had to overcome some things. You mix that with not winning the line of scrimmage. Finally, they have a drive that's been positive, and a couple of positive plays in the running game.
Lacey was in the backfield and now motions out. Pressure off the edge. Moss never saw it coming. The ball pops out. And it's James Madison football. Jacob Thomas on the safety blitz. And it's Xavier Holmes, who blocked the punt last week, recovering the fumble.
Deception, gap control, and they are versatile. They're going to give you a lot of different looks. They bring Thomas off the edge late from the secondary. We mentioned that they like to play him in the box. And he gets to Miller Moss, who never saw him coming. Was he down or did the ball? I think this is going to be JMU football.
Well, we have Matt Austin. Matt, Mr. Louisville, that looked to be a fumble.
It did look like as he started to go to the ground, the ball started sliding down his body, and he didn't have firm control anymore. So I do think this is a fumble, and the play will stand.
Well, we can't say stands anymore, right? Upheld?
Upheld. Well, it's not officially in review, so I can say stands.
That's right. Crowd does not like it. It's been the nightmare of real things early on for Louisville. And James Madison gets the ball back. Screen pass, Nick DeGennaro. Stiff arm. And a first down, his first catch as a Duke, the Richmond transfer.
On English, the defensive coordinator at Louisville. Right now, Dean Kennedy kind of winning this little chess match, so to speak, a move or two ahead of Ron English.
They mark him just shy of the marker. He went out of bounds at the 40, so 2nd and 1. Playbook wide open. Barnett in at quarterback. Play clock down to 2.
That's the end of the first quarter.
And the quarter comes to an end. Boober.
Receiver pass that should have been a touchdown. They come to play.
Wayne Knight gets the call on first down. And Newman greeted with a rude hello, but he picks up enough for a first down.
Now keep an eye on Michael Scott. He's a true freshman, number 17. When he comes in the game, they want to get the ball into his hands. His nickname is Joystick. A lot of players call him Junebug because he's so quick, so dynamic in the open field.
I was surprised nobody's called him world's greatest boss.
We're going to get him the football here pretty quickly.
It's a good team if you like sitcoms. Barnett tonight. Out of bounds at midfield, a gain of 8. Knight last week, 7 carries, career high 89 yards.
You can tell AB3, Alonza Barnett III, has full grasp of this system for JMU.
Pressure off the edge, quick throw. And it's Knight again for a gain of 4 more. TJ Capers.
It's going to be enough to move the chains and give him a first down. He's spreading the ball around. Last week at the end of the first quarter, he'd already hit 6 different receivers. They were so productive on offense, they scored on their first 4 drives last week. This is a team that can move the football. They've got size. They can hold up against a lot of Power 4 teams.
Sluka is into the game. A couple of tight ends in there. The give is to Petaway. And the former Tar Heel carries to the 42. Gain of 5.
Nice block and a finish by big Josh Pfeiffer, a tight end. All 6'6", 260 pounds of him. He's a youngster as well, just a sophomore.
Andre, here comes Alonza Barnett.
You've got to have some patience and you've got to have some understanding to rotate. I understand series, but every play or plays within a possession, that is tough.
They'll do that with their offensive line as well. Wholesale changes. Barnett hands it off. Petaway runs into a roadblock. Got a yard.
TJ Quinn. One of those 3 linebackers, and that's the strength of this Louisville defense. It's the linebackers, Quinn, Clark, and Watts. Ton of experience. Guys that have played together, and so they're well versed in this Ron English system.
Petaway's helmet came off by rule. He's out for a play. Io Adei had come in. Now it's Wayne Knight.
When you look for situations like this, 3rd down and medium, where they are, going for it on 4th down, certainly in play, but you're looking for the one-on-one situation if you're Barnett.
Play clock about to hit 0. There is Barnett on that surgically repaired knee, only a yard, and it's decision time.
Well, just not much there. He shows it to Petaway, and tell you what, Lubin, who is an excellent edge player, he wasn't fooled at all.
And they will go for it here on 4th down.
There's that one-on-one situation we talked about at the top. top.
Play clock down to 5. Barnett against a 3-man rush with a spy. It's off the hands of his intended target, Landon Ellis, and it falls incomplete. Louisville will take over on down. So twice tonight, once off a short field and now off of a turnover, Louisville's defense comes up with a stop in plus territory. Chicago, Miller Moss, the Louisville quarterback, backed up Caleb Williams for 2 seasons at USC. As Isaac Brown pushes to the 45 for a gain of 5. How about this? Lincoln Riley, the head coach at USC, has 5 of his quarterbacks starting in the NFL.
That's crazy. You talk about quarterback whisperers. He is one, but along with Jeff Brom, who can coach him up and get him in the league. And well, Lincoln's had him for a couple of years. Brom's doing it on somewhat of a 1-year rental.
Moss, quick throw, almost picked. Elijah Culp read the route, and if he catches that, it's a walk-in pick 6.
Can't blame that one on the elbow, Elijah. Not going to let you do it. But he sits down, and right in front of Chris Bell, who should have run a hitch and kept his body between the quarterback and the defensive back. He keeps going. The ball's thrown, and Culp is sitting there. Should have been 6 points. A lot of missed opportunities for this JMU team on offense and now the defensive side.
19 plays, 33 yards for Louisville. Pressure coming. Moss on the run. Completes for a first down. It's Chris Bell.
He's got the size you like in a receiver, 6'2", about 220 pounds, and runs the defense off. He's going to come back on a little comeback route. Enough for the first down, and in front that time of Elijah Culp.
Dane Brugler of The Athletic ranks Chris Bell as the #2 wide receiver prospect for the 2026 draft, only behind Jordan Tyson of Arizona State.
He's a good red zone threat as well because of his size, and they play him all over the field. They'll move him around. He's not just one guy that's going to sit. They will move him.
Moss loads up. Lot of contact. No flag. Bell and the safety, Tyler Brown, got tangled.
I think they didn't throw the flag because both guys could have made some contact, but a little stop and go. Bell's wrestling along with Tyler Brown, and the officials just kind of let it go. Of course,
that was a good no call.
Matt?
Yeah, I think that was a good no call. They were both going after each other. There wasn't as much contact on the replay as it looked at live, so I think that's a good no call.
2nd and 10, Brown the running back. Off play action, pressure from Thomas, dump off to Brown, and he is engulfed by big Emmanuel Bush, 350-pound redshirt senior.
Well, this big guy can move. He'll wear that 0 because he can't. And the guy that just coming off does a nice job of finding Isaac Brown. And in space, the guy 6'1", 348 brings down a guy 5'9", 190 pounds.
Should it not be mandatory for D linemen and, if possible, nose tackles to always wear 0?
I love it. I love just single numbers on the big fellas.
On 3rd and long, they set up the screen to Brown. He doesn't need much room. Able to get that across the 40, and that sets up an opportunity here for Jeff Brom to go for it on 4th down.
I think with the play call, the screen to Brown, Jeff Brom was hoping just to get something positive to get him back in a manageable situation across the 50. They did exactly that, and here we go on 4th down again for Louisville.
Jackson Panarello, 37 in red, comes in for Louisville. He often lines up as the fullback.
You've got an experienced quarterback. He's going under center. Beware for the hard count here. I'd bark one real loud, see if I can get him offsides. Nope.
Off play action. Moss backpedals. Has Skinner wide open. He's got room to run, but there is a flag down. Skinner rumbles inside the 20. Penalty marker at about the 27-yard line.
This is going to be against JMU, so it'll stand.
Holding defense, number 13, an eligible pass receiver. That penalty's declined. Offense will take the result of the play.
We talked to this staff, Jeff Brom, along with his brother Brian Brom. You got the feeling that Jaleel Skinner was going to be a big part of this game plan. And he's finally coming around. The hands are starting to match with the athletic or the physical traits at 6'5", 230. Kind of reminds me of Kyle Pitts, who is with the Atlanta Falcons. He's that type of player.
The coaches told us they expected a big jump this season from number 88. Moss on the keeper. Flag down.
They're going to have a holding penalty against Antonio Meeks. Trying to work on the outside and block for his quarterback. This one's coming back, along with 10 yards in the other direction.
After further discussion, there is no foul for an offensive hold. It'll be second down.
Andre, we were talking in the last commercial break. James Madison has had all 3 of their drives end in Louisville territory. They almost had a pick 6 on this drive. Louisville scores here. This crowd gets back into it. Brand new game. You squander a lot of the momentum that you've built up. James Madison has missed some opportunities here to put Louisville in a tougher position.
And even if you just punt the football away, punt and play defense, now they've got to drive longer than this possession. So a lot of missed opportunities, as you mentioned, 3 that certainly come to mind right away.
Second down, 6 to go. This will be the 9th play of the drive.
Here comes the blitz. And we got a false start, so
Delay of game on the defense for disconcerting signals and movements. Number 5, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Matt Austin, that's a point of emphasis.
Yes, it is. When you have that many players coming up the line of scrimmage, they need to come up smooth and they need to stay still. If they stomp feet or wave their hands, they're going to get that call.
I've got a question to that. What if he's trying to time the snap and he's coming aggressively?
He better be really good at it.
Was there enough there to constitute disconcerting signals? That's a run by Watson to set up a 1st and goal. Matt, they seem to charge toward the line. Was there enough distraction?
If the officials feel that they're doing it to draw the offense offside, then yes, any kind of action, if they deem it.
Confused because it looked as though Trent Hendrick is trying to time his blitz. They're coming. Yeah, you could just about call that every time a linebacker's ready to shoot through and time a snap. Snap count.
If it's one player, you're probably not going to get it called. If it's all 11 come up there like that, that's probably why. That's why they called it.
Got it.
Offside, defense with contact. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
That scenario that you talked about, partner, starting to play out. Because Louisville, they get this in, the momentum changes, the energy in this building changes, it gets the crowd back involved. And standing up offsides is Michael McMullen, defensive tackle for JMU.
Watson into a pile of Dukes. 2nd and goal.
Kind of surprised that Louisville can't inflict its will at the line of scrimmage. JMU's holding up well in the trenches.
Especially on the ground. 18 rushing yards for Louisville.
But the big fella at fullback.
Here's the handoff. Kewan Brown brought down and finished off by Zaire West. It's 3rd and goal, and this vaunted Louisville ground game just has not found much room.
Zaire West again making his presence felt. They shoot the gap, and they have owned the line of scrimmage, as you mentioned, especially in the running game. The penetration is just, it's all JMU right now.
Spinagati blew the play up initially. Isaac Brown back in there.
It's a big third down here for Louisville.
12th play of the drive. Moss boots to his right. Stops. Throws. End zone. Incomplete. Jacob Thomas knocked it away from Chris Bell.
Thomas was there. Hendrick shows up in an angry way as well. Nice job by Bell to redirect and Thomas to get it out of there.
Thomas, one of the best safeties in the Sun Belt. And Cooper Ranvier.
Thomas is one of the best safeties in the country. Certainly one of the best that I've watched in this early part of the season. Just a playmaker with great size.
A 22-yarder by Ranvier. And that gets Louisville on the board. Second career field goal for the redshirt freshman. Cards on the board, but staring at a deficit. Three, your score on a Friday night in the Ville. Anish Shroff, Andre Ware, Paul Carcaterra. Last year, Friday nights, Andre was, in a word, unpredictable.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of one-score games, and we're in one again here in 2025.
Nick Keller boots it away. Wayne Knight inside his own 5. And out across the 25. James Madison ball when we come back. Congo. We're going to get Clark to fill in a few blanks.
Clark's expanding his French as well.
I heard him say we.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one word. There's Fuller. Paul, did you pick up any additional French?
No. I had a great time with Renee, though. That was our Friday night spotlight with Louisville's Renee Conga. He's from Ottawa, Ontario. He's a wonderful young man. Andre, you would love him. He collects cologne, and I know you've got a big thing for cologne. You walk in a room, everyone smells you, so I got to keep you away from Renee. You'll probably heist his entire collection.
Oh, I told one of the coaches, hey, just go by and casually kind of grab something out of his locker. You know he's got 2, 3, 4 bottles in there. Every day, just spray a little bit on.
Andre, Renee, and Brian Fantana. Here's Wayne Knight. Not much. Third down.
Oh, excellent tackle by JoJo Evans Jr. Coming up just as ball carrier's about to get started, and another long yardage situation here on 3rd and 7. Feel the momentum shifting ever so slightly in favor of Louisville.
Barnett back to throw. Over the middle, completes to Jalen Sanchez. And he is about a yard shy of the line to gain. The Villanova transfer. 4th down, minus territory.
With trick plays, Anish, all of it. We said, hey, they're emptying everything out to win a game, win the ball game here tonight. Boy, this is a shot here and a risk by Bob Chesney. But if you came to win, here it is.
Do you snap the ball, or is this a ploy?
They try to hard count first. Got a question from Matt Austin. If the defense, Matt, can be called for
JMU takes its second timeout of the half.
or whatever that correct term that you use.
30-second timeout.
Why wouldn't the offense, in an instance like that with Alonza Barnett III, the quarterback in the back, rushing up to the line of scrimmage, intentionally trying to draw the defense off, why wouldn't that be a flag?
Well, it certainly could be. If they feel, if it did draw the defense offside, I would not have been surprised if they would have thrown a flag. But the offense gets that little bit of extra leeway before they throw the flag.
Gotcha.
But yes, they're held to the same standards as the defense.
So a timeout by Bob Chesney, and let's see if this takes the go-for-it call off the table.
Right off sides right now, lined up right there in the middle. You see the helmet right on top of the football. If it's snapped, that's offsides against Louisville and a first down.
Andre, the punt team is not on. They bring in Matthew Sluka.
And they're in that formation again that you just love, don't you, in short yardage.
Sluka up the middle. The gutsy call pays off. We were joking about it earlier. Bob Chesney and this offensive staff did not come to leave plays in the bag of tricks tonight.
No, they came to win. And
Timeout on the field for an injured
you,
player to the offense.
you're trying to win a
Delta
ball
plays the
game,
first down.
you use everything at your disposal, and they don't want to have a powerful, explosive Louisville offense right back on the field after putting 3 points on the board. So they ran the risk, and it paid off.
This is a big injury. Pat McMurtry, the right tackle, first team all-conference in the Sun Belt last year. He's their best offensive lineman. He's also the only player in the Sun Belt that was first team all-conference that's back with the same team this year.
Yeah, they call him, his nickname is Mr. Reliable. He's never late for meetings. A kind of a silent leader who does everything the right way is how the coaches describe him. And you're right, this would be a huge, huge loss for the offensive side of the ball if he's not able to get back in this game.
You saw 28, the running back. We saw that a lot last week. When Sluka comes in, Joby Mallory becomes the sidecar, often the lead blocker, as McMurtry limps off the field.
And those Holy Cross transfers that came over with Bob Chesney. So we really, really love that young man. Great size, moves the pile. Good run blocker as well as pass protector.
This James Madison team won 9 games in Chesney's first season. Last year was the Duke's first season where they were considered a full FBS member. They've made the transition from FCS to FBS better than anybody. Deacon Rawls comes in to take over at right tackle. Barnett back in at QB. Against the pressure. Petaway shouldered out of bounds after a gain of 3, maybe 4.
Well, these safeties, the knees are hitting tonight. JoJo Evans Jr., last couple of tackles. Jacob Thomas for JMU having a heck of a game defensively. Safeties flying up, playing in the box. They are making their presence felt.
Dippre, who has the lone touchdown, motions over right tackle. Out of an empty set. Petaway in motion. Pop pass. Petaway tries to turn the corner. Didn't get very far. 3rd down for James Madison.
They're looking for one block and couldn't get it from Jalen Sanchez. He'd been outflanked already. That forced Petaway to the sideline, unable to turn up the field, and here we are, 3rd down. If JMU gets anywhere close or gets this to 4th and short again, look for him to go for it on 4th down. Well, you got a slot uncovered. That is easy money to Sanchez.
We have reached the 2-minute timeout. James Madison looking to tack on with a 7-3 lead. intrigue here in the Ville. 3rd down and 6, and a flag.
Josh Toner, the right guard,
False
moved.
start. Offense, with 55. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Riley Robel, that's in for Toner. I stand corrected, but I know I saw the right guard flinch.
Neither team has cracked 100 yards of total offense. Time of possession the same. It's largely been a defensive battle here in the opening half, but for James Madison, you got a 2-for-1 opportunity. If you score here, you get the ball to begin the second half.
It's pretty much that's about as close as it can get. 28 plays on one sideline, 29 on the other. First team to 100 yards wins.
3rd and 11 after the penalty. Edge pressure, Barnett thrown to the ground. Wesley Bailey, the Rutgers transfer.
Finally getting his first sack of the season. Rene Conga, both guys are teammates, but it's Wesley
Louisville
getting
takes its
there
first time out
first.
of half. Please set the game clock to 1 minute, 53 seconds. 1-5-3. Thank you.
After Lubin had 2 sacks, the guy on the other side a week ago, Bailey, gets into the stat sheet.
Louisville calls a timeout, so now the Cardinals with 1:53, 2 timeouts, plenty of time for this offense. And you got to remember, Lacey here becomes awfully dangerous in the punt return game.
Louisville struggled running the football. 16 runs, just 15 yards, 13 passes for 61 yards.
Ray boots it away, high kick, a short one. It takes a Louisville bounce, and it skirts back inside the 40 of James Madison. Ray shanks the punt, and the Cardinals take over with prime real estate.
And I'm going up top. If I'm Jeff Brom and the offense for Louisville, just gifted me great starting field position. I'm taking a shot right here.
You're so worried about Lacey. It ends up being an 8-yard punt.
Yeah.
And now Louisville with a short field. These sudden change-like moments, sometimes Jeff Brom will go into the bag of tricks. Moss with time. Will take the check down to Bell. It's a gain of about 8 on the play. 2nd down. Clock stops with 1:35. Still 2 timeouts for Louisville.
Be surprised if he gets the same coverage. You look left, and that's the field side. You got Bell one-on-one at the bottom with a safety that's low. Take your eyes left and maybe take a shot.
Off play action. There's the shot. He wants Bell. Incomplete. Covered well by Cole.
You had Jacob Thomas playing so low in the box that there's no way he could get back outside and help on a receiver like Chris Bell. Safety's down. That time it was Tyler Brown. You get about 3 of those a game. We're hoping to hit 2 out of the 3, Anish.
Lacey's in the slot. He gets it on the slant. And a first down for Louisville. Momentarily stops the clock. A gain of 8.
When he came in from South Alabama, his route tree wasn't really up to speed the way Jeff Brom wanted it. They've really coached him up well in terms of being able to run routes and recognize coverages.
And a penalty on Louisville.
False start. Offense number 2, because the game clock was running their 10-second runoff options.
And you get the 10-second runoff because we're at that juncture late in the first half.
Oh, there's plenty of time, and they have 2 timeouts to go along with it.
So Louisville will take the 10-second runoff instead of burning the timeout.
We're still talking about it with Bob Chestnut.
Roach will make his announcement.
JMU is elected to take the 10-second runoff. Please reset the game clock to 1 minute 6 seconds. It'll start on my signal.
Now Louisville can prevent that by using a timeout, but inside the 30, 2 timeouts more valuable for Jeff Brom than the 10 seconds. Clock begins on the official's whistle, so we're moving under a minute. Moss, that's to Brown. That'll keep the clock churning as well. And now we get a timeout.
Yeah. Talk things over, make sure you get the correct play call, and they're trying.
Second timeout of the half. Your 30-second timeout.
With 2 timeouts, you are trying to get in the end zone here.
Miller Moss, 11 of 17, 83 yards passing. Hands it off to Brown. He has not found much room. Upended on the outside. It's Elijah Culp, who's been everywhere. It brings up 3rd down. Clock continues to run.
Again, winning at the line of scrimmage. The penetration by this defensive line of James Madison.
Moss under pressure. Throws on the run, incomplete. It's 4th down. Culp in coverage on Bell. And Ranvier on for another field goal attempt. He hit from 22 for Louisville's only score.
Yeah, Jeff Brom told us 53 and in. He is more than comfortable with Ranvier. Redshirt freshman at a Lexington Douglas High School.
A 31-yarder to make it a 1-point game. 39-yarder to make it a 1-point game. Ranvier gets it up. And the kick is good with 10 seconds to go in this opening half. For 20 years, Allstate has held a halftime lead on another ACC team.
A Virginia team 2 years ago, and then North Carolina on the road last year where they put up 70 points. And that one, watching them on video this week, you can tell this is going to be a good, hard-fought football game coming here. They've got talent on both sides of the football, especially on defense, where they can really get after you. They've got some athletes. They've got experience. This will be a good one all the way to the finish line.
Squib kick. It's taken by Dippre. He has the lone touchdown tonight as we look at this week.
I just don't know how you live up to it.
What's impressed you the most about James Madison in this opening half?
Just them winning the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball at times, especially the defensive line, where you think they would be undersized. They have held the point of attack and won.
And Wayne Knight back deep for the Dukes. This will come out to the 25-yard line. We check in with Paul Carcaterra.
Well, Nish, I just caught up with Bob Chesney, and I asked him to describe the belief level in that locker room. He said, we did not come to Louisville hoping we could win this game. We came to Louisville knowing we could win this game. And offensively, he knows it's been a struggle with the 65 total yards. He said they can't be at 3rd and long scenarios. They want to have some momentum in 1st and 2nd down and take some shots against this Louisville defense. And then defensively, he's really, really pleased with that defensive line. They've created a ton of pressure and making it very difficult for Miller Moss.
Yeah, with that information card, look for George Pettaway to kind of get himself going in the second half here. Maybe lean on this running game a little bit more than they did in the first half.
Alonza Barnett at quarterback, 9 months removed from a torn ACL. The give is to Wayne Knight. He is stood up and driven back. TJ Quinn, Louisville's leading tackler the last 2 years.
The 6s are starting to look like 3s, and so on and so forth. But how about the execution at the line of scrimmage? TJ Quinn, we mentioned Stanquan Clark and Antonio Watts. strength of this Louisville defense starting to make plays.
Clark and Quinn, especially the twin spires of that defense. Throw to the outside, wide open receiver Landon Ellis. And the Richmond transfer who had a touchdown last week picks up 20.
It's a big target on the outside. Not sure how he ended up so wide open out on the edges. Well, his corner just slipped down. Tayon Holloway just slipped down, and that allowed Ellis to go right by him.
Louisville really likes the upside of Holloway. I think he could be a top 3 round of draft choice. Barnett, contested throw, incomplete, intended for Dippre.
Gentlemen, good news for JMU. Pat McMurtry is back in the lineup right now, and it was a right calf, and I saw trainers working on his calf and applying some ointment, but that's huge because when he was out of the game, we saw serious penetration from the Louisville defense. We saw the sack by Renee Conga and a lot of pressure on these 2 quarterbacks. This all-conference tackle is a legit player for them.
Yeah, he is their best lineman.
Yeah, they're elated that he's been able to get back in the ball game.
Louisville showing blitz. Now they back off. It's a run play tonight, scavenging. And finally brought down. It'll bring up a 3rd and about 7.
It's not Petaway here in the second half. They've actually gone to Wayne Knight, but it's still going to the running game, trying to lean on the offensive line. And they've been able to control the line of scrimmage with their defensive line. Now they're trying to find out if they can do the exact same thing on the other side of the ball. Petaway now has checked himself into the game here on 3rd down.
Barnett lets it fly. Ellis trying to adjust, and a late flag.
And it should have been a flag. I'm waiting on it. He's getting his jersey tugged, his arm pulled on, and it's a catchable ball. So I'm waiting, wondering what's taking so long. And it's Holloway to that side. And it's going to indeed be pass interference.
Pass interference. Defense, number 25. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
And it's the very end of the play. Trying to go to Landon Ellis again. And just the tug of the jersey, right in the middle of the jersey, is where Holloway gets called.
Matthew Sluka into the game at quarterback. They empty it out. Sluka has not attempted a pass tonight until now. Flag down, being chased, and he gets rid of it. Stanquan Clark applying the pursuit.
You know, both these teams, and Coach Chesney, when we had a chance to visit with him on Wednesday, told us, you know, this is kind of both teams' opening game, so to speak. We'll let Mr. Roach make his call here.
On the offense, more than 4 plays in the backfield. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And I'll just say this. What you were able to do against Weber State, you may not be as successful doing it against Louisville. And what I mean by that is this quarterback rotation. Neither one has gotten hot. Neither one has set this game ablaze right now. And I think they're stopping each other because of just the switching and the rotation of the quarterbacks. Neither one can get a rhythm or footing.
I can see the former quarterback in you coming out. 1st and 15 with Sluka in at QB. Here's the toss. Adei. To your point, Andre, you play in a timeshare when both guys have been accustomed to being the guy. Bob Chesney was very clear about it. He said, listen, we brought in other quarterbacks because we didn't think Alonza Barnett would be ready for the start of the season. He's ready. He was productive last year. Now you're trying to figure out how to make everybody happy.
You start him against an ACC opponent, you let him roll until you have to go to Sluka.
Low snap. Sluka It's going to be 3rd down and long. So you're of the mind.
But these guys
let it ride with Barnett.
No, the guys in the red jerseys, this isn't Weber State this week. And so what worked last week, and you're able to do that against, you know, no disrespect, a lesser opponent. This is Louisville from the ACC. You've got to have some consistency with your offense in order to win.
A Louisville team that played in the ACC championship 2 years ago. A Louisville team that beat Clemson, last year's ACC champion, in 2024. Barnett back in there. He'll throw. Downfield and brought in with one hand by DeGennaro.
What a catch. Wanted to get him the football last week and just couldn't. He's got good speed. They really like him. And they'll move him around, and they have. But boy, the catch. Just reeling that baby in and tapping himself down inbounds. And I'm, you know, let me get this square. I don't care if it's Sluka or Barnett. Just pick a guy and roll with him.
This is the 4th time in 5 possessions James Madison has been in Louisville territory. Only 1 score to speak of. Barnett keeps it. He's got the 10. And he's to the 9. Remember Barnett in the win against North Carolina last year.
Went crazy.
7 touchdowns, almost 500 yards of total offense.
So the lights in the crowd aren't too big for him. 5 touchdown passes, 2 more on the ground. He threw for 388 and ran for 99 in that win against North Carolina on the road.
And now Sluka is back in. He's got a bulldozer next to him and Fuller. On 2nd down, Sluka again will run, finds a seam. Touchdown, James Madison.
You almost get the sense that when they want to run it, the quarterback runs, it's Sluka. And when they want to throw the football, it's been Barnett. But that's a heck of a job, and a nice block inside as well, kind of clearing some things out. Trent Wilson with a heck of a block to free him up.
Morgan Suarez for the PAT.
How about that to start the 2nd half?
14-6, James Madison.
Nice job of throwing the football, grabbing it to DeGennaro, and then Sluka coming in, capping things out. 14-6.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Ram Trucks. James Madison on its opening possession of the 2nd half marches downfield. Matthew Sluka with a 9-yard touchdown run. And it's 14-6 Dukes here in Louisville on a Friday night, week 2 of the college football season. Cardinals have not had much offensively, especially on the ground. No chance for Lacey, and we check in with Carter.
Well, Nish, when I caught up with Jeff Brom at the half, he told me defense is not the problem for them, and he was right. In the 1st half, they held JMU to 65 yards. He said they're not getting a running game established with Isaac Brown. As a result, they're in some tough situations, and JMU has brought a lot of pressure on Miller Moss. He said he's not having the right amount of time to get rid of the ball, and they can't hit the perimeter or go for any big plays with this pressure on the defensive line, Andre, that I think has really owned the line of scrimmage.
I agree with you totally, partner. Guys like Bush and Lockett Jr.
Here is Isaac Brown. Had a little bit of daylight. Boy, has not had much room today. That was his longest run, 8 yards, up to 24 yards rushing on 8 carries. A guy last year, Andre, who averaged 7 a pop, more than Ashton Genty.
Yeah, and it's because Lockett, Bush, guys like Hendrick and Weathersby, those guys are owning inside. So they finally decide to go outside.
There it is on cue, stopped in his tracks by Spinagati. 3rd down.
Tyler Bush, these safeties for JMU. It's not just the linebackers where we kind of thought the strength of the defense, but they've got depth up front in that front 7 that have played in some big games before, and you're seeing it tonight.
Duke Watson in for Brown here on 3rd and 1. Cross hands to Watson.
He got it,
and he gets just enough.
But even then, it's a minimal gain, and just can't seem to open up a big hole against this JMU front 7.
What is the adjustment Louisville needs to make offensively?
I think it's the outside edges. Brown has enough speed to get there, so certainly Watson does.
Cross over the middle, wide open, Chris Bell. Can he take it to the house? Oh, yes, he can!
Now you see why a guy like Chris Bell is ranked as the #2 rated wide receiver coming out of college. Man, he caught just a simple slant. The speed in which he slices through the back end of this defense. Man, it was pretty.
And Louisville will line up for 2 to go for the tie. It's a 64-yard touchdown catch for Chris Bell. That's the big play that's been missing tonight for this Louisville offense. Moss pump fakes. They'll run for it. He stumbles and he gets in, and we've got a tie game.
Miller Moss does a nice job of waiting for Chris Bell to get into the second window, standing in against pressure. Nice job by Bell to house the thing, and then Miller Moss comes back, converts to 2-point conversion, and we got ourselves a tied-up ball game.
It's slumber. We got a little halftime caffeine. And we're tied at 14. Both teams scoring on their first drives of this 3rd quarter. James Madison now with the ball for the 2nd time this half.
B3. This place is alive all of a sudden, Anish. It's been so quiet all game long.
Barnett hands it off. Knight with a little bit of an opening, and he gets skinny for 6.
Knight, a smaller back at just 5'7", running behind this big offensive line for JMU. It's tough for defenders on Louisville's defense to really find and locate him until he's already engaged them.
Barnett dropped the ball. He's got to cover it up. It brings up third down for James Madison.
Well, and it's a perfect opportunity to run the ball. They go with a straight-up 4-2 look, 6 men. So you have 6, including the tight end, to block their 6.
Going quickly, Barnett with a big hole. Now they blow the play dead. Hold on.
Before the snap, Louisville takes its first time out of the half.
Well, and a nice job and a timely timeout by Jeff Brom.
7-4-6. Thank you. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
Now Bob Chesney looking to catch Louisville off guard. Saturday on ABC. When do you really start to pay attention to the race?
We get closer to November.
Okay.
I've kind of, got a group of guys that you've got to penciled, put on a sheet of paper, and you've got to keep an eye on it. I'm not a week to week, and one guy drops because the team lost, and he didn't. You got to play your way out of it, in my opinion, or play your way in it. Into the conversation, that is.
Third and 10. Here's the blitz. Barnett is hit. Wounded duck. Is it picked? It is. Louisville with the takeaway. It's Clev Lubin, who had 2 sacks last week.
Lubin has been outstanding the first 2 weeks of the season. They're going to take a look at this. I'm not sure he actually caught it or had his hands under it. It may have touched the turf. But that's the 4th ball that Alonza Barnett has batted down.
The ball was tipped by Jordan Garrod, and then Lubin, who came in as a much ballyhoo transfer from Coastal Carolina, comes up with the pick. They will take a look at this. We will go to Charlotte and listen in live. ACC's Game Day Operations Center for this replay review.
Hey guys, Mike is here.
Okay, Mike, this is Bill in replay.
Yep, we're on the field. There's an interception by the defense. Take a look at the ground.
Here is right here. Here's your view. It is an incomplete pass.
Okay.
So you see the ball there?
No. We'll go to 4th down.
Pretty perfect.
So we're going to go.
Yeah. Okay, there it is.
Okay, we were at.
4th down.
It's going to be 4th down. It's going to be position 4. Position 4 at the 25-yard line.
Correct. 4th down, position 4 at the 25-yard line.
That is correct.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
We're overturning to
We're good.
incomplete. Overturned to incomplete.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Matt Austin, after this call, explained position 4.
After further review, the pass is incomplete. It'll be 4th down at the previous spot.
Yeah, on the field, there's 5 positions to put the ball. The near hash, the upright, middle of the field, far upright, and the far hash. Starting from the home side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4 would be the upright.
Right, that whole experience of listening in, fans have got to be very appreciative of that. That's awesome.
And you're going to see that for every Friday night ACC home game on ESPN this season. So 4th down, interception off the board. Lacey lets this one bounce. It takes a Louisville bounce, and it's down after a 35-yard kick. Different feel in the Ville. Tied at 14 midway through the 3rd. From January 19th, but it comes a lot faster every year. This game, not much offense in the first half. Both teams scored on their first drives of this 3rd quarter. Louisville with the ball. Decent starting field position inside their own 40. Isaac Brown, his longest run today, just 8 yards, picks up 3 more.
With just 5 guys in the box, it's telling and calling for Miller Moss to hand it off to Brown. Get everybody blocked up, mano a mano, and then just leave, a guy for him.
It is a Louisville offensive line without its starting right tackle. No Trevante Sylvester for the 2nd straight week. He's expected to be out a little while longer. Moss under pressure, and Andre, we've seen that When he has to move the pocket, the accuracy diminishes a great deal.
Yeah, it goes way down. He is the definition of a pocket passer. Jeff Brom basically told us that much. When he's got to move around, the accuracy it just hasn't been there tonight. Now watch him go make a play. Scrambling, throwing it back across his body. Some electric play. It just hasn't been there to this point in the game.
Delay of game. Defense from the 33 for disconcerting movement. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Matt Austin, that's twice now we've seen that called on James Madison.
Yeah, it is. And to be honest with you, from up here, I didn't see what he did. I'd love to see a replay.
Yeah, you know, Matt, I could see if a guy is flinching and he keeps doing it, or he's clapping his hands, just some overly outrageous movement. But I'm like, I didn't see anything.
Defensive coordinator Colin Hischler seemed to be pleading his case as well. On the reverse, Lacey is tackled in space by DJ Barksdale. He was the defensive MVP of the Boca Bowl.
They are not afraid to lock him up with the other team's best receiver, but the closing speed by Barksdale, just kind of reading things, and he's the nickel player in this JMU defense. He'll line up in the slot. There, he came from a long way away after he dissected things, saw it, and then made one heck of a play.
Outside of that long Chris Bell touchdown, James Madison has tackled extremely well in space when they've had to. Chabot puts it away. There's Wayne Knight, and he's dropped immediately.
Another nice tackle.
Rodney Johnson, who got hurt last week, with a big play on special teams.
The transfer from Southern University. He also played a little bit of football at Stephen F. Austin.
During the kick, holding receiving team number 93. Penalty enforced after distance to the goal. 1st down.
So now James Madison will be backed up significantly. And it's a Dukes team. Listen, it's a tie game, but they've missed their chances.
Yeah, to open the game, very first play of the ball game, an overthrow and missing a wide open receiver, nobody there. The batted passes has been 4 now on Alonza Barnett. Ball's up in the air, usually that's intercepted over the middle of the field, and then a pick 6. That's kind of missed by Elijah Culp, their most talented defensive back, or their best cover man. See, the drive started in Louisville territory, only 7 points. You gotta take care of the football while you're backed up deep in your own end of the field here, Anish.
Fuller, he's the hammer. Brought down by Lawson. And that gives them a little bit of room to get away from the sound and fury of that Louisville student section.
And Josh Toner, their right guard, or left guard, a little slow to get up. Just allowed that play. Just basically telling the offensive line, push the guy, get some push on the guy in front of you. And they were able to do that right up the middle of the formation.
They like Fuller. Holy Cross is all-time leader in touchdowns. Played there for Bob Chesney in Worcester, Massachusetts. 230-pound bruiser as Toner walks to the sideline.
And it's not a significant loss because you referenced it earlier in the game. They rotate offensive linemen so much that they're built to handle when one goes off with an injury.
Out of a wishbone. Back to Fuller, who hammerheads for a James Madison 1st down.
I think I might line up and keep going to the same spot. Just give it to Fuller, let him get downhill. Let this offensive line play some football a little bit. and get some push for you.
Andre, I go back to what Louisville defensive coordinator Ron English told us. He said, my big question is, are we big enough on the defensive line
to handle a team like James Madison?
Quick screen. No light in the tunnel for Zeron Collins.
Andre, you're mentioning taking care of the ball, and I had a good conversation with Alonza Barnett this week. He said he takes it super seriously. It's his responsibility every time he touches the ball not to turn it over. He's got the entire team and organization on his shoulders. He's got freedom at the line, checking in and out, but now we have Matthew Sluka. So in a big spot, you can't turn the ball over. Your veteran in Barnett, who only had 4 interceptions all last season, is back to the bench.
Sluka has not officially thrown it. The one time he did, play went away due to a penalty. He keeps it again. And Sluka powers for a James Madison first down. We welcome you to Louisville. Those of you that may have been watching Chiefs and Chargers, and Ishraff, Andre Ware, Paul Carcaterra. James Madison, a preseason favorite in the Sun Belt, had a 7-6 lead at halftime. Both teams scored on their opening drives here in the third quarter. And we're tied at 14. Louisville went for 2, got the 2-point conversion. Now it's Matthew Sluka and James Madison. And Sluka scrabbles for a couple of yards.
As Sark made the reference, or the facts that Barnett only threw 4 interceptions last year. He also ranked for 442 yards and 7 touchdowns. So he's got that part of his game. And he's also just coming back from a knee. So they may be protecting him until a little bit further down the schedule. But he certainly can do both. He is a dual threat quarterback that has yet to kind of get cooking in this game.
Sluka under duress. And that'll go as a sack. Antonio Watts.
Watts, the linebacker, just going to come around the edge, and Sluka not as fleet of foot as Antonio Watts. He's freaky talented and athletic, and he showed it right there on that play.
Now when Sluka comes in, it's almost been quarterback run pretty much every time. Barnett, more of the passer. Both are dual threats. You wonder if James Madison might be setting up something for later in the game. Third down, where the Dukes are 3 for 9. Louisville brings a twist. Barnett gets crunched, and the Cardinal defense gets home again. Rene Conga.
I think maybe they missed a face mask. You watch Barnett in the pocket. There's a hand that goes up around his face, and you can see a little tug on his face mask. That's enough to have called a face masking penalty.
Wesley Bailey in there as well. The punt. Lacey with a fair catch signal, and it's made at the 35. 40-yard kick. We send it to Zubin in the studio. So I'm guessing Notre Dame NIU was week 2 of last year.
Yeah.
That was a great post-game scene with Thomas Hammock, the NIU head coach. Louisville looking for the go-ahead score. Minute 31 to go in the third. Miller Moss, the USC transfer. And the run game continues to be stuck in quicksand for Louisville. Sahir West with the TFL.
Really flashes on video when you're watching and preparing. West, a good edge player, 6'4", 270, just a redshirt freshman. Dad played at Morgan State.
Lacey.
Lacey, the ball
Marked down after a gain of about 4 or 5. Third down coming up.
And you look at a guy like Shair West, and he's just, you know, he's got the body of a power 4 player playing the edge. Mentioned 6'4", 270 from Baltimore, Maryland. He has made a huge difference in this game tonight for JMU.
Empty set. 4-man rush. Lost with time. Able to complete. Trayshawn Hurry is about 2 yards shy.
Stay alert for a fake here. They punt it away.
Fielded on a hop by Knight. And he pedals out of bounds. Shy of the 30. There's a flag back at the Louisville 45.
Keep in mind, they went for it on 4th down on their end of the field earlier in the ball game. It was unsuccessful. So with a tight ball game, you've clawed your way back in this thing to tie it up. No need to give any momentum to James Madison.
And I think Jeff Brom trusts in his defense, which has been
playing well this
pretty solid tonight.
No doubt. Playing very well with the exception of the first drive of the second half.
Personal foul, face mask. Receiving team number 2. Penalty been forced at the end of the kick. First down.
So the penalty on the Dukes.
And a big one.
Matthew Sluka to begin this drive.
There have been a couple of instances in which Sluka had the intent to pass the ball with no one open, and he pulls it down and runs. He has yet to throw a pass in this game. And so here, backed up, I would expect quarterback run of some sort or handing it off to Jordan Fuller.
Using Fuller as his lead blocker, Sluka lowers his head and is out to the 15, a gain of 7.
The kick out block by Riley Robel. Man. Just kind of shows up in an angry way. Pulls from that right guard spot and kicks out on the end. And it's kind of like quarterback counter. What a block by the big fella, the redshirt sophomore.
He came in when Josh Toner went down. Sluka fakes the throw, breaks the first tackle, not the second one, no gain. And now on 3rd down, does Alonza Barnett come back in?
Well, they show some aggression there and bring the guy off the edge. So it was the exact same play, except Riley Robel watched him go by as opposed to being stationary and playing the block. So he didn't get the tee off that time. He just swung and missed.
Barnett's in there. Logan Kyle, the tight end, was the motion man. Pressure off the edge. Barnett off his back foot. Kyle able to hang on.
You know how tough it is to play quarterback if you run on first, run on second, throw on 3rd? And this may be a holding penalty to bring all this back, but that's a heck of a throw by Barnett that's going to come back. He had a rusher in his face.
Holding. Offense number 76. Half the distance to the goal. We play 3rd down.
McMurtry working against Wesley Bailey, who he almost had a free line to Barnett. Had to hold him. That's a good call.
10 penalties against the Dukes.
But when you're asked to come in on 3rd down and throw, that's a tough way to play quarterback.
Barnett from his own end zone. He lost the ball. A.J. Green falls on it. looks to be a Louisville touchdown.
There's one lineman in there fighting, and it is a touchdown. Great job by the pass rushers, the edge players for Louisville. A.J. Green as well as Lubin on the outside edges, and they're able to get home. We saw Wesley Bailey the play before just about get there, and it's Lubin that gets the sack, and A.J. Green with a recovery for a touchdown.
And then it looked like Green may have lost it, but was able to get it back.
Yeah.
Busted play, so the conversion fails. There is a penalty marker.
The try is no good. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, the kicking team, number 51. That 59 penalty being forced on the kickoff. Timeout.
Well, that could turn out to be a big play.
Make for some pretty good field position.
And you take the point after off the board because of the botched play. So no PAT, a penalty to boot.
You see right in the middle of the screen, just kind of hitting the guy with his back turned, and a little acting job as well by Emmanuel Bush, but it
Madison now down 6. And Andre, does Bob Chesney ride with one quarterback the rest of the way?
I think he certainly needs to. This against a lesser opponent, you can get away with moving quarterbacks in and out during a series. I kind of sympathize with Alonza Barnett right now, having to come in a game on 3rd down only, and then the entire stadium knows that you have to pass the football. When Sluka's in, I'd crowd the line of scrimmage if I'm Louisville, and I would come after him and play the quarterback runs.
Because of the penalty, Louisville had to kick off from its own 20, and Wisłowski
waiting for that young man.
Michael Scott in motion. The handoff to Fuller. He's been getting some carries in this second half. A pickup of 7. He gives a different element to that run game with his power. And here comes Sluka, Andre.
Oh, boy. I just don't know if they're going to be able to get away with this all year long without having to commit to one over the other. And that day is fastly approaching.
Sluka spent 4 years with Chesney at Holy Cross. Was at UNLV last year.
Where quarterback draw is there.
That is the quarterback draw. It is Sluka It's going to be close, and he's got enough for a first down. And then Sluka left the UNLV team after 3 games last year with the Rebels, ranked in the top 25 over a payment dispute with the school. Hit the transfer portal, was looking around, and Bob Chesney caught wind of Sluka looking at schools in the same tier as James Madison, with Alonza Barnett coming off an ACL, and James Madison not knowing if Barnett would be ready this season. They brought Sluka back into the mix in a system that he is familiar with. Play clock down to 2. Sluka, a throw. Sanchez able to bubble to the outside into Louisville territory. First pass attempt, first completion for Sluka today.
And just trying to get Louisville to bite inside on the tunnel screen and then get leverage to allow Wayne Knight to turn the corner. Louisville able to rally themselves kind of back into position to slow down the momentum of Knight and keep it to a minimal gain.
The old hook and lateral.
Yeah, just to run that in flag football. Throw a curl route and then the slot receiver coming around on the outside.
Sluka remains in the game. Knight the motion man, the fake to Knight. Another screen pass. DeGennaro a yard shy of the first down marker, 3rd and 1.
You know it's coming, don't you? Going to fake a tunnel screen and release the blocker up the field. That's what's coming.
Now, both of these coaches talked to us about how part of the game plan, and this is the norm in football at all levels, you're setting up the defense. You want to get them to see the same patterns over and over, and then you do something different off those patterns. Fuller, the bulldozer in the backfield. Ellis in motion. Sluka running behind Fuller. First down, James Madison inside the Louisville 40. Cardinals stuck at 20 because of the extra point that never happened. Broken play after the Cardinals scored a touchdown on a strip sack, fumble and recovery in the end zone.
Drive being put together here by JMU, and so they get down and score. All they need is a couple of field goals to tie this thing up with a missed extra point by Louisville.
Into the belly of Petaway, wrapped up by Bailey. A yard.
Petaway cut the wrong way. If he cuts to his left, then he's got a nice little crease in which to run through. He goes right, and it was right into the arms of a couple of Louisville defenders. I'd love to get him going. Second year in the program after transferring in from North Carolina.
Petaway goes wide. Pressure off the edge. It's Holloway on the corner blitz.
Oh, it's like it just froze Barnett. Staring at the blitz, waiting on a guy to just get any type of separation to throw it. Isaiah Alston, and he's unable to do it. And all of a sudden, Holloway is in his face, making a tackle.
Ron English raved about Tayon Holloway and his upside. A former Tar Heel.
It's been Ron English with the advantage here in the second half of this one.
Fuller charges forward. That sets up 4th down from the 36-yard line. All right, Andre. Going for it here.
I got to punt it here if I'm JMU and just kind of rely on the defense to hold up. This is Stanquan Clark, their middle linebacker, down.
All right, he's a big part of this defense. All conference last year. Team leader being attended to. Stanquan Clark, 6 in red, one of the key pieces on this Louisville defense. The offense comes out here on 4th and 7. Remember, Morgan Suarez, the kicker, his career long is 43. He's only attempted 1 field goal of 50+ in his career, which he missed.
I may just go hard count, try to get Louisville to come off sides, if not punt the football away.
Well, that still only puts you in 4th and 2. Barnett takes a shot. Incomplete. DeGennaro got turned around. He had a step on his man. And it's a turnover on downs.
He had JoJo Evans Jr. beaten. He had a step on him, as you mentioned. But right in the face of Barnett, there was a pass rusher coming, and just enough to force an errant throw out of bounds.
Now, we wondered how this rebuilt Louisville defensive front would look. They lived in the backfield last week. Okay, that was Eastern Kentucky. 5 sacks today against a James Madison team picked to win the Sun Belt. Two tight ends in the game. Skinner 88, Stewart 86. Boss comes out throwing. Now tries to run and pulled down by Emmanuel Bush. A sack, a loss of just a yard, 2nd and 11.
It's kind of a head scratcher. Go to Isaac Brown with a lead. Try to get this clock running and not play from behind the sticks. It's exactly what JMU needed to happen there.
That's been the big surprise tonight. The Louisville run game, which was amongst the ACC's best last year, only 29 rushing yards today. Boss loads up. Incomplete. Bell couldn't quite hold on with Barksdale in coverage.
Barksdale mentioned earlier, he's not that big at 5'9", but they are not afraid to put him in coverage against the other team's best receiver. And that would be Chris Bell for Louisville.
Bell has a 64-yard touchdown today, 4 catches, 83 yards.
With Bell out, it becomes Lacey, and that's exactly where Barksdale goes.
On 3rd and long, pressure from up the middle, throw to the sideline. And it's incomplete. 4th down, wanted Meeks, Culp in coverage, so no harm, no foul. James Madison goes for it, doesn't get it, and then gets Louisville to go 3 and out.
And it's exactly why I said punt the football, because now instead of punting it with the line of scrimmage being the 35, if the exact same sequence happens and Louisville's backed up, now you're getting better field position because of the punt.
Michael Scott to return this punt. The true freshman from York, Pennsylvania. Somebody got a piece of his jersey.
They need a new jersey. Now it's
some loose threads. Matthew Sluka to begin this drive. Wasn't ready for the snap. Now he's in trouble. Negative play to start things off. 2nd down and long into the quarterback shuffle. Will likely continue here. I know Andre wants to see James Madison stick with one guy, but this seems to be their formula. Barnett and Sluka.
Remember earlier in the game I talked to you about the voice inflection of a quarterback? I mean, all that kind of plays. That's why you get an early snap from Zach Greenberg.
Sluka, another design quarterback run. Quinn is there. Clark, we saw Stanquan Clark get carted off moments ago.
Carted off, towel over his head, in a lot of pain and disbelief and a lower body injury. They'll have to go the rest of the game without their middle linebacker, who's the heartbeat of this defense. He's a 2-year starter. In the spring, he was injured in terms of the shoulder. So he hasn't been healthy for the last 6 or 7 months. They're finally getting him back, and to see him carted off is a tough, tough scene.
TJ Capers takes his spot, redshirt sophomore from Miami. On third down, another run. Sluka, nowhere to go. Only a yard, fourth down. Andre, when Sluka's in, there's an overwhelming chance it's a run play. As a defense, do you begin to tee off?
I would pack the box, bring the corners up, play press coverage, because all he's thrown, every pass he's thrown has been a quick tunnel screen. So to the outside, so you're there to make the play, and then, you know, put everybody inside in case he runs quarterback draw or quarterback counter. That's been about it with Sluka in the game. So you're basically, you know, you're telling the defense exactly what's coming in certain situations.
Ray boots it away. Lacey lets it bounce. And downed inside the 20. We are excited about this. The all-new ESPN app. Your best way to watch sports. All of ESPN, all in one place. Live games, live stats. Plus, you can track your fantasy teams, personalize your own sports center, personalize with your favorite leagues, teams, players. It's the all-new ESPN app. Louisville's got the ball and the lead, 4.5 to go. James Madison with the 3 timeouts.
And I'm putting the ball in the belly of Isaac Brown.
He has not had that big run tonight. Just 10 carries for 23 yards. There is Brown, a home run hitter who's been held to singles, and he picks up about 3, 2nd and 7.
Yeah, I keep taking singles with him until he's able to hit the big one, but you know, allow this offensive line to kind of take over the game here with about 4 minutes left. That's what they want. They'll tell you, they'll come tell you, hey, put it on us. Let's roll. Let us fire off the football and block things up for Isaac. And that's exactly the way I would go.
Last year, Brown averaged more than 7 yards per carry. Today, his longest run is 7. Back to the ground, back to Brown. There's the seam, and now the turbo boost. Brown all the way into the Louisville net. Touchdown, Cards, 78 yards.
Keep punching away. Good things happen. And the guys up front, they want it on their shoulders. They know what type of runner they have behind them. Eventually, if you keep blocking it up, things are going to happen in a big way for Isaac Brown.
Well, there's the home run.
That's the guy that the country should know about. One of the best backs in the entire country, Isaac Brown.
How one run has changed his line in the box score. 12 for 104, 8.7 average after that 78-yard touchdown. And now Louisville lines up for 2. Make it a 28-14 game.
They need a player. There's only 10 guys on the field.
And they got to burn a timeout.
They are missing a tight end.
Louisville takes its 2nd timeout of the half.
Well, let's go back and take a look at this touchdown run. And they just go to the outside. It's blocked up well, and then it's the speed and the power all in one run for Isaac Brown. Just breaking tackles coming out of him. Boy, and we talked early about the ability to hit the home run. He is as complete a back.
Sliver of daylight.
Boy, Gore was so tough. He just put a team right on his back.
2-point conversion attempt.
What a catch.
Is it a catch? It is.
What a catch.
Dakari Collins, but a flag is down in the end zone.
Result of the try is good. Personal foul, face mask, defense number 2. That 59 penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Penalty is on Culp.
Collins, a big receiver at 6'4", 215. He just caught Barksdale is holding all the way. That's another flag they could have thrown, but just a one-handed grab in the back of the end zone for that two-point conversion.
Andre, what does your son say to you when you play basketball in the driveway? And one?
And one. That's exactly right. You got Culp with a face mask or hands to the face down at the bottom, but it's a heck of a throw by Moss. Either Collins was going to catch it or nobody was. It was a great placement of the football by Miller Moss.
James Madison.
Still time on the clock, though, Anish.
They jumped out to a 7-0 lead in this game, led at halftime, scored on the opening possession of the third quarter to go up 14-6. Since then, all Louisville. 22 unanswered in the last few drives for James Madison, just have not yielded much production.
You have the type of back that they have at Louisville with Brown. You don't ever abandon the running game. You keep that guy going, and eventually you know something good's going to happen. Isaac Brown proved that theory right.
James Madison's last 4 drives, 22 plays, 36 yards, and a fumble lost in the end zone that resulted in a Louisville touchdown. Ellis, the Richmond transfer, fights ahead for 9.
They had 3 timeouts. We have the 2-minute timeout. Plenty of time here. You just got to put one score on the board first.
Too high for DeGennaro. Barnett tonight. 12 out of 20, 83 yards, a touchdown. He's been sacked 4 times.
Holding, offense number 79, 10-yard penalty, second down.
You know, we spent a lot of time in the first half talking about, you know, James Madison controlling the line of scrimmage. The second half has been all Louisville on both sides of the football.
Joseph Simmons having trouble with Clev Lubin.
Lubin is some player. He's just a junior. His get-off is sick.
Had the sack, forced fumble in the end zone. 2 sacks last week. Big hit. Head away the catch. It's 3rd down.
It's 4 down territory from here to the house. So you're hoping to pick up something here or just go ahead and take care of the first down.
On the slant. It's hauled in by Sanchez, and he's got enough.
Jaylon Sanchez, the Villanova transfer. 76 receptions for over 1,300 yards last year at Villanova.
Ruling on the field is a completed pass for a first down. That plays under further review.
So we go to Charlotte to listen in to the ACC's Game Day Operations Center.
All right, they're showing command center.
Actually, that's a better shot right there. But again, you can't.
They're just showing command center on TV.
Can't see the ball hit the ground there.
Hey guys,
I can't see if the ball hit the ground. I can see it bounce, but I can't see if the ball hits the ground. Let's see if we get another shot in from TV.
Replay A. Okay.
Hey guys, I'm here.
Okay, Mike, we're looking to see if the ball hit the ground.
Yeah, if he completed the catch. Yep.
Yeah.
TV is just showing command center.
Okay.
All right, there we go. And then it's not a good shot, Bill.
Bill,
Yes, sir.
the best shot I have is the right 25, and I see a bounce of the ball, but I do not see if the ball hits the ground or not. Or
1 minute. 1 minute
the
in.
hand was underneath.
Yeah.
So as of right now, with no other shot, ruling on the field is going to be upheld.
I agree. We're going to
Okay.
clear that. Yeah.
All right, very good.
No,
Mike.
Ruling on
Yeah,
the
we're
field
good to
is
uphold. Oh, yeah. Sounds good, guys.
uphold.
Yep.
Uphold.
Sounds
Uphold.
good. Thanks, guys.
After further review, the ruling on the field is upheld. It'll be a first down for JMU.
Important to note, and I'll bring Matt Austin in, our rules analyst. Upheld is the new verbiage this year. There's no more confirmed or stands, and they didn't find clear and obvious evidence to overturn the call, so it stands.
Yes, absolutely. And this year, upheld doesn't mean anything different than stands stood before. It just means that they're not going to overturn the call. So the ruling on the field is going to go, so let's play football.
Ruling on the field was a catch and a first down. As you got a glimpse into the kitchen, something you'll be seeing on our Friday night broadcast this season when we're at the home of an ACC team. We'll give you that live look in. You can see what the folks in the Charlotte Command Center are watching. Sometimes, as we saw, the fourth wall comes down.
Yeah.
Hey, TV showing the Command Center. You'll get some of that. Kudos to the league for opening that up and providing that kind of transparency. Tight end to Logan Kyle on the reception. Gain of 8. Third down.
Transfer from Vandy. Boy, did they have a season a year ago.
We are at the 2-minute timeout. Louisville up 2 scores. Team conversion rate. It's another third down. 3 to go. Matthew Sluka into the game. Sluka, no surprise, will run and able to get to midfield for a first down.
That's kind of been the story when he's been in the game. I think he's spun 2 tunnel screens out to his right. And that's been about it.
Please reset the game clock to 1 minute and 55 seconds. The clock did not stop appropriate at the end of that play for the first down.
Yeah, the clock's got to stop inside of 2 minutes on a first down.
Till the chains are set. And
then it starts again.
Yep. Need a quick score here for JMU to have a shot in this one. They still have the 3 timeouts, but they need a quick score.
Sluka. Zigging, zagging, and out inside the 40 to the 38. A gain of a dozen for Sluka, up to 70 yards rushing. That's his longest run of the game, longest run by James Madison tonight. Sluka to the air, slings it in traffic, and it's intercepted by Jabari Mack. We were waiting to see if and when they would let Sluka throw the ball downfield. They do, and it results in an interception. Yeah, listen, Andre, we've talked about it enough. I think at the end of this game, James Madison may have to go back to the table and say, okay,
Is this working for us?
Is this the path forward?
Yeah, are we stalling our own offense out? 6 quarterback sacks, 12 penalties for over 100 yards, a fumble in the end zone, and just very little production from the quarterback position. And you have to have the meeting with the staff, with the players to decide, is this our path forward?
And you played the position.
It's a dangerous spot because there's a lot of guys on this team that played with Sluka at Holy Cross. There are a lot of guys on this team on the offensive side that have played, and defense, that have played with Barnett at JMU. And what you don't want to have happen is that locker room splits, and one's rooting for Barnett and the other side of the locker room's rooting for Sluka.
And Ashraf, Andre Ware, Paul Carcaterra, Andre, former Heisman Trophy winner. You played in the NFL, and you've seen all sides of this.
JMU takes its first time out of the half. The 30-second timeout.
I don't remember
Please reset the game clock to 1 minute and 20 seconds, 1-2-0.
ever being or remembering a situation.
I want them to like it. That might be maybe a hint that he lets this thing play out before you get into conference play. And then once you get into your league games, you make that decision. But you kind of look at this game, and I know Louisville's the ACC team, Andre. James Madison had a chance to win tonight.
Yeah, they really did. And here's, the miscues of this one. You miss a wide open receiver for a touchdown. Ball's batted down at the line of scrimmage and missed opportunities. An opportunity for a pick six left on the turf, and then a sack for a touchdown that put Louisville right back and put their stronghold, basically gave them a stronghold on this game. Penalties, 12 for 103 yards, 6 sacks that I talked about. And there were plenty of opportunities to win. I just don't think they got enough consistency out of their offense to get the job done.
And Andre, what we saw, especially in the third quarter, get a couple of 3-and-outs. You brought this up in some commercial breaks. He said now the quarterbacks are on the bench longer, and you're breaking even more of that rhythm.
Yeah, and you're basically cooling down a quarterback when he gradually starts to get hot. You're cooling him off yourself by, bringing the other guy in who's already cooled off.
Kewan Brown. That'll bring up 4th down. And remember, Alonza Barnett last year was the man of the match when James Madison beat North Carolina. Accounted for 7 touchdowns as the Dukes take a timeout. Threw for almost 400, ran for almost 100. And then on the final play of the season last year, the regular season, he tears his ACL. And the thinking by this coaching staff was there's no way he's going to be ready for the season. So you brought in a Camden Coleman, you brought in a Matthew Sluka, and then all of a sudden, this guy's a full participant in fall camp, and he looks pretty good.
Yeah, we had a 2-quarterback system at Houston. Me and David Klingler. He played when I was out of the game. When the game,
but you only played a half.
Game's out of reach. He can go play now. You know what I'm saying? I'm totally fine with that way of doing business.
James Madison puts 11 on the line. Louisville able to get the punt off.
Yeah,
not a very good one. And it'll be downed at the 40-yard line. 1 minute and a second to go. Now a minute. And James Madison out of timeout.
And I say that jokingly. He happens to be one of my best.
They also go to Miami, a team, if not for a fourth quarter, second half meltdown late in the season against Syracuse. Miami's probably a playoff team as well. That was in the regular season finale. And you look at the league this year. Clemson, even with the loss to LSU, came into the year as the team to beat. The teams that we just mentioned, I think Louisville, with all its offensive talent, has to be in that mix. Georgia Tech is a team that got a lot of preseason dark horse vibes. They opened with a win against Colorado.
That was the defensive coordinator for Louisville there, Ron English, mentioned that little chess match he had with Dean Kennedy. Look on the staff at Florida. I think he's going to win it in tonight's face-off.
Clemson, the overwhelming favorite to repeat as ACC champion, and then
he's still coaching them up hard.
Miami, SMU, Georgia Tech getting votes. Louisville picked to finish 5th. But they got the right guy a few years ago when they brought in Jeff Brom.
Yeah, and he put the right pieces together with this coaching staff. His brother coaches quarterbacks, Brian, who started here along with Jeff. And then Ron English to run the defense.
Sluka dancing, turbines.
Good job there by Sluka picking up the first down. It's a good, tough run.
They'll sling it. That's complete. Landon Ellis down to about the 1.
Landon Ellis with the reception. Tackle made by Tayon Holloway.
Timeout on the field for an injured player in the defense.
Carter Sweezy, who's been in at left guard, seems to be the player that is down.
And Louisville's got one down. It's Clev Lubin, young man who had 9.5 sacks at Coastal Carolina. He's been an impact player in his first 2 games with the Cardinals.
2 sacks last week, and they could really ill afford to lose Lubin, and they've already lost Stanquan Clark.
Yeah. Remember last year they had Ashton Gelati on the defensive line. Gelati was
talent. Boy, last year.
Drafted by the Chiefs in the 3rd round. They had 2 corners who are on 53-man rosters. Quincy Riley was a 4th-round pick of the Saints. Corey Thornton made the Panthers' 53-man roster as an undrafted free agent. As Sweezy is being helped off the field. James Madison saw Josh Toner, their starting right guard, go down earlier in this game. Sweezy, the starting left guard. And then Lubin for Louisville. We'll get a look at what happened to Lubin.
See him right there, just kind of trotting and then goes down.
Now, this year, the rule is if you go down after the ball's been spotted, it incurs either a timeout or a delay of game. Now we get another timeout, this time by Louisville.
Louisville takes its final timeout of the half.
Matt Austin is our rules analyst. Matt, when you saw Lubin go down, because it looked like the James Madison player had already been down at that point, would that negate any potential infraction?
Yeah, it would. Actually, I thought the Louisville player was down first back here, and then the other player, the James Madison player, went down later after he saw there was already an injury timeout. But he acted like he wanted to stay in the game for a moment before he went down. So, but yeah, since there was already a stoppage, then no harm, no foul.
.25 seconds left. James Madison's score impacts some folks. Sluka on the slant through the hands of Sanchez, covered by the safety Hutchinson.
There is no one covering Zach Greenberg, the center. Why not walk under, snap the ball, and sneak it in? Nobody over the center.
Quarterback draw. Sluka does not get there.
You get penetration and all that's involved. And the simple move is to just go put your hands under the center, snap it, and go forward, as opposed to doing it from depth, where you get penetration that stops you and bottles you up.
Time expires. Louisville closes this game on a 22-0